Cynthia Coffman was the partner in crime of James Gregory Marlow. She was born St. Louis, Missouri. Coffman and Marlow were accused of killing 4 women in October to November 1986. They were arrested on November 14, 1986, following which Coffman confessed to the murders. They were put on trial in July 1989, and in 1990 sentenced to death, Coffman being the first woman to receive a death sentence in California since the reinstatement of the death penalty in 1977. A further trial in 1992 convicted her for another murder with a sentence of life imprisonment. She was still on death row in 2011. Born in 1962, Cynthia Coffman was the privileged daughter of a St. Louis businessman, raised by her parents as a devout Catholic. Abortion was unthinkable when she got pregnant at age 17, and she was forced into a loveless marriage, enduring 5 years of domestic captivity before she left home and fled west, traveling with little more than her car and the clothes on her back. She wound up in Page, Arizona, waiting tables in a diner, moving in with a local man after several weeks. In the fall of 1985, they were evicted from their small apartment after numerous complaints from neighbors of their drunken all-night parties. On May 8, 1986, Cynthia and her boyfriend were stopped for running a stop sign in Barstow, California. Police found a loaded Derringer and a quantity of methamphetamine in her purse, but she was released on her own recognizance. The charges subsequently dropped. Her lover wound up serving 6 weeks in the county jail, and it was during one of Cynthia's visits that she first met his cellmate, the man who would irrevocably change her life. James Gregory Marlow was doing time for the theft of his 6th wife's car when Cynthia walked into his wasted life. Born in 1957, he had been a dedicated thief from age 10, committed to Folsom Prison in 1980 for a series of home invasions and knife-point robberies. Marlow served 3 years on that conviction, earning himself a reputation as the Folsom Wolf, proudly wearing tattoos of the neo-Nazi Aryan Brotherhood. It was love at first sight for Cynthia and James, her boyfriend instantly forgotten, when Marlow hit the street, and they left California together in June. Marlow had relatives in the border South, and the couple began working their way through the family tree, sponging room and board where they could, ripping off any obvious valuables when they were finally asked to leave. In time, it reached the point where Marlow's relatives could see them coming, turning them away with angry words or pocket change, depending on the latest pigeon's mood. At last, they were reduced to sleeping in the woods, where Cynthia contracted head lice and James was forced to bathe in kerosene to rid himself of biting chiggers. On July 26, 1986, Coffman and Marlow were linked to the burglary of a home in Whitley County, Kentucky, making off with cash, some jewelry, and a shotgun. Days later in Tennessee, they were married. Cynthia celebrated the occasion by having her buttocks tattooed with the legend, "I belong to the Folsom Wolf." That done, they drifted west again, in search of easy prey. On the evening of October 11, 1986, 32-year-old Sandra Neary left her home in Costa Mesa, California, to obtain some cash from the automatic teller machine at her bank. She never returned, though her car was found by police in a local parking lot. 2 weeks later, on October 24, her strangled, decomposing corpse was found by hikers near Corona, in Riverside County. Pamela Simmons, age 35, was the next to die, reported missing in Bullhead City, Arizona, on October 28. Her car was found abandoned near police headquarters, detectives theorizing that she had been snatched while drawing money from a curbside ATM. 10 days later, on November 7, 20-year-old Corina Novice vanished on a similar errand in Redlands, California. The latest victim had been kidnapped from an urban shopping mall in broad daylight. Lionel Murray's boyfriend was worried on November 12, when the 19-year-old psychology student failed to keep a date after work. He found her car outside the dry cleaning shop where she worked, in Orange County, California, but another day would pass before her naked, strangled body was discovered in a Huntington Beach motel room. In addition to kidnapping and murder, there was also evidence of sexual assault. Police were praying for a break, and when it came, the case unraveled swiftly. First, Corina Novis' checkbook was found in a Laguna Niguel trash dumpster, tucked inside a fast food takeout bag with papers bearing the names of Cynthia Coffman and James Marlow. Around the same time, Marlow and Coffman were linked to a San Bernardino motel room, where the manager found stationery bearing practice signatures of Lionel Murray's name. A glance at Marlow's criminal record did the rest, and a statewide alert was issued for both fugitives. On November 14, 1986, police were summoned to a mountain lodge at Big Bear City, California, where the proprietor identified his latest guests as Marlow and Coffman. A 100-man posse found the lodge empty, fanning out through the woods for a sweep that paid off around 3 p.m., when the suspects were found hiking along a mountain road. Coffman and Marlow surrendered without a fight, both wearing outfits stolen from the dry cleaning shop where Lionel Murray worked. Within hours, Cynthia led officers to a vineyard near Fontana, where they found Corina Novis, sodomized and strangled, lying in a shallow grave. Marlow and Coffman were formally charged with that murder on November 17, held over for trial without bond. If any further proof of guilt were needed, homicide investigators told press that fingerprints from both defendants had been found inside Corina's car, and Coffman had been linked to the Fontana pawn shop where the victim's typewriter was pawned. Another 32 months would pass before the killer couple went to trial, and in the meantime they experienced a falling out, each blaming the other for their plight. On one jailhouse visit, Cynthia's lawyer asked if there was anything she needed from the outside world. "Yeah," she told him, pointing to her backside. "You can find someone to help me lose this damn tattoo." The couple's murder trial finally opened in San Bernardino County on July 18, 1989. Both defendants were convicted across the board, and both were sentenced to death on August 30. Cynthia Coffman thus became the first woman sentenced to die in California since that state restored capital punishment under a new statute in 1977. It seems unlikely that a woman will actually be put to death in liberal California, but the 1992 execution of Robert Alton Harris cancels all bets, making anything possible.